week in Times Square. Over the weekend it's going to be turned into Herald Square, so Monday night when we rock up into work it'll be a different part of New York, 1933.
We've got teams of people working for the next 48 hours, day and night, moving the big pieces.
We've got a huge crew. We're all working right through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I think there's 2 hours in that period where we won't be working, and they'll probably come and ask us to work overtime on that.
We'll be running 40 men during the day, 20 men at night, which will include painters, carvers, because a lot of the facades, when they come off, will have to be cleaned up a bit.
And of course there's quite a big set change to be done between Times Square and Herald Square, but they both share the same road, Broadway, and so the configuration of the set didn't change per se. It's just we did building changes and signage changes and dressing in the middle of the square changes and things like that.
We've got the Horn and Harder building facade coming off to expose Macy's in behind it. Lots of canopies, the Gaiety, the Newsreel, the Mayfair, all canopies that are coming off, and different awnings going in their place, signage and so forth. Directly behind me here we've got the underground subway, which will be covered over by the Herald Square monument.
Take my tree for a walk.
We had to know exactly what we were doing before we started, and we've had a model that we've had floating around for probably, must be getting close to a year.
You know, if you're sort of looking more like a reverse away from the theatre, all down there is quite a nice bit of reflection really down there, whichever side of the line we ended up on.
We've done a lot of work in the set designs for these so that we were able to change them from one sort of building to another sort of building in a very short time span, mainly by putting one set directly in front of another. We also did quite a lot of taking away of the canopies that are more typical of Times Square and making it into more of a Herald Square sort of shopping area. I mean, that's where a lot of the big department stores are.
What's wonderful about this set is the attention to detail, and there's something about this that does exist in certain areas. There are, you know, old parts of Queens and Brooklyn with the elevated subway tracks, which I grew up, you know, a few blocks from, that this is very reminiscent of. We still have the same structure in my neighborhood.
And at Herald Square there, in theory, is a railway station there, so we've built a big staircase. There's no actual railway station, but we've built the staircase.
Right, stairway to heaven!
The film, we've been sailing very close to the wind all the way through the film, and this was another one of those instances where we had to be very much on our toes to be able to pull it off.
I'm absolutely thrilled to get here. It was touch and go for a while there because we've had a few weather hold-ups in the last 3 days, but as usual, our fabulous construction, dressing and set finishing teams, they've made it.
The reason we're in this tent is because it's raining cats and dogs outside. We have a taxi cut in half. We have Jack Black and Colin Hanks performing scene 17.
Step on it! Okay, cut it.
We really didn't know if it was going to be a wet weather call until the afternoon, so we were powering through this, you know, assuming it's all going to be done on Monday, because it had to be done on Monday. We didn't know, well, you know, if it was going to rain or not, and we had also prepared a wet weather cover set just in case it wasn't, and in the end they didn't shoot the wet weather cover set or Herald Square. They ended up shooting something else completely, but you know, we just have to be prepared for things like that because that's the business we're in.